Hello everyone, and welcome back to Polka Art Studio. In today's tutorial, we're excited to show you how to create a beautiful new journal with a matching case cover, inspired by the theme of ancestry and family trees. We'll be using our latest kit, Rooted in the Past, which features delicate pastel colours, charming lace, embroidery accents, and lovely little charms. This is a no-sew journal, so all you'll need to bind it are some simple fabric straps. No stitching required. You'll find all the kit links and the measurements for both the cover and the case in the description below. We hope you enjoy crafting along with us, and we'd love for you to join in and make this project together. Let's get started. In this first part, we'll be creating the journal itself along with the matching case. Then, in part 2, we'll move on to decorating our pages and adding all those special details. The journal pages were printed on regular copy paper, while all the decorative papers and everything we use to decorate the cover and case were printed on matte photo paper, 160 grams per square metre for a nice, sturdy finish. All the supplies and materials we used will also be linked in the description below. But of course, feel free to get creative and swap out any materials for something you have on hand or that works better for you. We love seeing your unique touches and creative ideas. We haven't made this project in advance, so we'll be creating it together for the very first time. Feel free to adjust any of the measurements or details as you go, so it fits your style and needs perfectly. This is a journal that tells the story of a family, made up of all those little bits and pieces of memories that come together to form our unique history. So don't be afraid to add in anything that feels meaningful to you. Book pages, old newspapers, coffee-dyed papers, doilies, scraps of fabric, ticket stubs, or even handwritten notes. This project is all about celebrating those personal touches and capturing the essence of your family's story in a creative and heartfelt way. So let your imagination guide you and make it truly your own. For this project, we printed all the decorative papers, some in a few extra copies and in different sizes to give us more options as we create. Don't worry, we'll write down everything you need to know about the papers and sizes in the description below so you can easily follow along. Apart from paper and cardboard, we'll also be using some metal decorations like charms, brads and eyelets. For the front of the case, we'll add 2 magnetic snap buttons, and we'll finish it off with some decorative metal corners for an extra polished look. To begin, we'll start by creating the cover for our journal. For this, you'll need 2 pieces of cardstock for the front and back panels, plus a narrower piece for the spine. If you'd like the spine to be extra sturdy, you can use 2 layers, but for this video, 1 piece was enough for us. To put the cover together, we'll use some craft tape to reinforce the folding edges and make the journal sturdier. Simply place your first cover panel in the center of the tape, then position the spine next to it, leaving a small gap for flexibility. Wrap the tape around both pieces to secure them in place. Next, take your second cover panel and position it on the other side of the spine, again leaving a small gap. Wrap the tape around just like before to secure everything together. This will give your journal cover a nice sturdy finish and make it easy to open and close. Now we're going to wrap the entire cover with decorative paper. Since one piece isn't quite large enough, you'll need to glue 2 sheets of decorative paper together to cover the whole surface. Once you have your larger piece ready, apply double-sided tape or glue to the outside of the cover panels and carefully attach them to the back of your decorative paper. Next, trim the corners of your decorative paper at an angle on each side. This will make it much easier to wrap the edges neatly. Once you've done that, apply double-sided tape or glue along the edges and carefully wrap and stick each side around the cover for a nice clean finish. Now that our cover is taking shape, it's time to add the binding. For this, we'll use 2 strips of fabric which will glue to the inside of the cover, one on the left and one on the right. Next, we're going to cover the spine area. For this, you'll need a strip of decorative paper or fabric that is about 1/8 of an inch shorter than the height of your cover, so it fits nicely without hanging over the top or bottom edges. The strip should also be wide enough to cover the entire spine and extend about an inch onto both the front and back covers. Before gluing the spine cover in place, lightly mark where the spine folds, then score and fold along those lines. This will help the paper to sit neatly on the spine and doesn't bulge when you glue it down. Once you've scored and folded your spine cover, you can go ahead and glue it in place. Make sure to press it down firmly, especially along the folds, so everything sticks nicely and fits smoothly. Now we'll add decorative panels to cover the inside of our journal cover. These panels should be cut about 1/8 of an inch smaller than the main cover panels, so you get a nice even border all the way around. Before gluing them down, go ahead and round the corners and ink the edges for a more finished look. Once that's done, you can glue the panels in place. Next, we'll create the belly bands that will hold our case in place. Each belly band measures 1 inch wide by 8 inches long after you fold in the top and bottom. To make these, start by cutting a longer strip of paper or cardstock, then fold the top and bottom edges to create flaps for gluing. This size will hold the case snugly, but if you prefer a looser fit, feel free to make the bands a little wider. Apply glue to the flaps and attach the first belly band to the left side of the front cover, positioning it about 3/4 of an inch away from the spine. Press it down firmly so it stays in place. Once the belly band is dry and securely in place, you can cut a strip of decorative paper and glue it right on top. We'll repeat the same process with the second belly band, gluing it about 3/4 of an inch away from the spine on the back cover. Once it's secure, you can also add a decorative strip on top for a coordinated look. To decorate the front cover, we'll cut a panel of decorative paper. Just make sure the panel isn't too tall so it can easily slide through the belly band without getting stuck. The panel we're using measures 5¼ inches by 7¼ inches, but you can adjust the size to fit your journal and make sure it slides easily under the belly band. Once you've got the right size, you can glue it in place. Next, we'll use a decorative strip panel to cover the spine. This strip is included in the extras folder of the kit, so you can easily print and use it for a coordinated look. Next, we'll add our signatures. We have 3 signatures, and each one contains about 13 pages. To make binding easier, we use a template to mark where the holes should go. Simply place the template on top of the cover, mark your holes, and then punch them through. Once that's done, you can add brads to reinforce the holes and give your journal extra durability. Using the same template, we'll poke 2 holes in each of the signatures so they line up perfectly with the holes in the spine. This will make it easy to bind everything together securely. Now we'll use 3 strips of light fabric, 1 for each signature. Take the first strip and feed it through the holes in your first signature from the inside, then thread it through the matching holes in the spine. On the outside of the spine, tie the fabric into a knot as tightly as you can to hold everything securely in place. Repeat this process with the other 2 signatures, using a separate strip of fabric for each one. Feed the fabric through the holes in each signature and the spine, then tie a tight knot on the outside to keep everything secure. Now to finish off the cover, we'll just add a charm to the spine for a little extra decoration. With that, our journal cover is just about done. The case cover is made from two large pieces of cardstock, each measuring 9.5 inches wide by 7.25 inches tall. Both panels are identical. Place the panels on your scoring board and score at 2.25 inches and again at 7.5 inches. The section on the right will form the spine, and the section on the left will be the flap that folds over and tucks under the belly band. Feel free to adjust these measurements to fit your own journal. Just make sure the spine is wide enough to wrap comfortably around your journal and hold it securely. Next, pick up your two panels and overlap the spine sections, then glue them together to form one long continuous piece. This will create the main structure for your case cover. We'll use craft tape to go over all the folds and cover them completely, since these areas will be visible once the case is finished. This not only strengthens the spine and flaps, but also gives the inside a neat and polished look. Using the same craft tape, we'll cover all the edges of the case. Simply wrap the tape around the edges, then fold the other half over to the other side of the panel. This will give your case a sturdy finish and help protect the edges from wear. Now it's time to decorate our case with decorative paper. For the front, we'll use one of the printed decorative papers, cut in half. We chose the side with the lady inside the frame to go on the front cover. We actually printed this page twice, because we're going to cut out the lady and the wallpaper scrap behind her from one sheet and layer them on top of the original image. This adds extra dimension and makes the front cover really stand out. If you'd like to follow the same steps, pick up your fussy cut shape and place it on some foam pads before gluing it down. This will give your cover even more dimension. We'll also add a small charm chain, hooking it onto a brad for a lovely decorative detail. We'll also tuck some embroidery lace elements behind the layered piece, one at the top and one at the bottom. Just be sure to glue them in places that won't interfere with the magnetic snaps we'll be adding later. This will add a lovely touch of texture and elegance to the cover. Now we'll create the holes for our snap buttons. The easiest way to make sure everything lines up perfectly is to fold the flap over and mark the spot where the holes need to go, using the fasteners as a guide. Then punch the holes through both panels at the same time. This way, the snaps will match up exactly when you fasten your case. Next, place the base parts of the snap buttons on the front cover where you've punched the holes. Secure them in place so they're ready to connect with the top snaps on the flap. Now we'll decorate the left flap with a piece of decorative paper. Once that's in place, you can insert the other side of the snap buttons through the holes you made earlier, securing them firmly. For the inside of the flap, we used another decorative paper and cut out a segment that we thought worked best with our design. Feel free to use the same paper or pick a different one that you like. Simply glue it to the inside of the flap to give it a finished look on both sides. Before you glue the decorative paper down, cover the prongs of the snap buttons with a bit of masking tape. This will protect the paper on top from getting pierced or damaged by the metal and help everything stay neat and secure. For the other side of our case, we'll decorate it using the remaining half of the decorative paper we used earlier. Just like before, we've fussy cut around the curtain and the letters, and we'll layer those pieces on top to add extra dimension and interest to the design. Now we'll cover the remaining sections of the case with decorative papers, each cut to size so they fit neatly in place. This will give your entire case a beautifully coordinated and finished look. If you want to use snap fasteners on the back as well, just repeat the same process as before. For our project, though, we'll be using Velcro pads on the back flap instead. Feel free to choose whichever closure works best for you. We'll add 3 Velcro pads to the back flap, one at the top, one at the bottom, and one in the middle. This will help keep the case securely closed and make it easy to open and close whenever you need. Now it's time to see how our case fits in. Just tuck the case underneath the belly band on the front cover, then wrap it around to the back and slip it behind the belly band there. This will hold your case securely in place and keep everything neat and tidy. You can further decorate the spine and the case with lace, ribbons, or any other decorative elements you like. Feel free to get creative and personalize your project with your favorite embellishments. We hope you've enjoyed this tutorial and that it's inspired you to create your own family tree journal. We'll see you in the next video, where we'll be decorating our pages together. Until then, have fun crafting.